Resuming debate, the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Canadian Heritage and Multiculturalism.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'm very glad to speak here on Bill C-86, a second act to implement certain provisions of the budget table in Parliament on February 27, 2018, and other measures. At the outset, Madam Speaker, I'd just like to just take stock of where we are as a country today. I know economically this is one of the best economic times we've had in history, at 40-year low unemployment rates. If you look at our growth in the GDP, it's one of the top in the G7. We have unprecedented amount of growth taking place in various sectors, particularly in the high-tech sector. And in fact, one of the often complaints I receive from employers especially is their concern over being able to hire people. There is a labor shortage, as we've heard in this House a number of times in different parts of the country, but also in the area that I represent in the Greater Toronto area. Middle-class families, Canadians are seeing firsthand that this plan is working. They're getting $2,000 a year in comparison to what they were getting before. Budget 2018 is a step in that plan, Madam Speaker, supporting our government's people-centered approach to ensure that every Canadian has a real and fair chance at success. And I know this has been a difficult week for some of us, especially those who are close to the GM plant in Oshawa, and our hearts go out to all the workers, all the hardworking men and women and their families in the Oshawa region. I know I have constituents in the riding who depend on that, and it is certainly something that I think all of us across all parties really do hurt, along with the families in Durham and in the general region. I think the fall economic statement presented by Minister of Finance, I think, sets out some very specific targets that allows more competitiveness in the Canadian economy. This past Saturday, Madam Speaker, I know all of us got back into our ridings very late in the morning, and I actually had the pleasure to open a new company in the riding. It is located on Thornmont Drive in Scarborough Rouge Park, and it's called Sakura Wood Inc. And they basically manufacture wood panels. They invested in several very expensive manufacturing equipment. And in fact, they didn't even know about the accelerated deduction, and I was able to tell them when I went there of the deduction that's available. This individual, who's been working for a very long time, is going to be hiring people, Madam Speaker, and I was very proud that he chose to establish his business in the riding, but it does show a sense of confidence that people have in the economy right now when we have these types of businesses that are also opening. I think it's fair to say that since we took office in the last 3 years, Madam Speaker, we've worked on a number of important initiatives, but particularly towards ensuring that there's gender equality in this country, and that's been a cornerstone of both of our Prime Minister, but as well as many of our ministers' direct mandates. Our budget budgetary process goes through a gender-based lens, which oftentimes was not the case, and I think this allows essentially the full participation of all women in the economy, which is going to help grow our economy in the long term, Madam Speaker. And I just want to highlight some of the very specific things that I think Budget 2018 offers in this respect. Pay equity is something that I know, I would say throughout my adult life, is something that I've heard over and over and over again about pay equity and the challenges and the failures of successive governments to fully implement pay equity. The statistics are startling, Madam Speaker. Men and women do not make the same amount of money for the work of equal value, and over time that's really limited many women from progressing in the workforce and being able to attain the same level of economic security that men were able to do. It affects pensions. It affects a whole host of benefits, because oftentimes our benefits are based on earnings. And I believe that the pay equity component of this budget, I think, is essentially sets us on the right path. It does recognize equal pay for work of equal value. It's a very smart thing to do, Madam Speaker, but we're also very proud to move forward with this proactive legislation. It is a key way in which our government is delivering on its commitment to gender equality. As you know, Madam Speaker, our government will introduce proactive pay equity legislation for workers in federally regulated sectors in 2018. This is on top of a number of other initiatives, most notably, of course, the establishment of a full status of women department. This, I think, is long overdue. I do recall that a number of initiatives have been undertaken by the current minister, which is very progressive, which essentially looks to challenge many of the barriers that exist for women to fully participate, but also to ensure that there's a safe and secure place for women and girls, but also for boys to be able to ensure that equality takes shape in the years to come. We recognize that it does require a lot of work, and I think the standalone department, I think, speaks to the importance that a government is demonstrating towards this issue. I believe this allows additional resources for the department. It'll give additional funding opportunities and resources so that the minister is able to target very specific issues and gaps within the current status of women. As I go across the country, Madam Speaker, undertaking the anti-racism engagements in several cities, this issue came up, the issue of racialization, as well as discrimination against women, and intersectionalities have come up repeatedly, and I think it does point to the fact that we're on the right direction. Certainly there's a lot more to do, and I think as a government we will do it. I think the other important aspect, Madam Speaker, is the poverty reduction strategy. It's part of an overall strategy that allows many Canadians to get out of poverty. Poverty in 2018 should not be a reality for Canadians. And as we look at the world, as we look at different parts of the world that are impoverished, that have limited economic resources and opportunities, it is a shame in a country like Canada, which has one of the best GDPs and one of the best economies of the world, to have people living in poverty. Yet we do, and as a government, we were successful in uplifting 650,000 Canadians out of poverty, which includes 300,000 children, Madam Speaker. That's a very significant improvement, but again, this is an ongoing process. This includes support for infrastructure, support for housing. As you know, we have for the first time, a national housing strategy in a generation. That too will assist people living under the poverty line to be able to get out of poverty altogether, Madam Speaker. As you know, poverty limits individual success, limits the ability of young people to attain their maximum potential, whether it be at school, whether it be in the workforce, or in other areas of life. And it's very important that as a government, I'm very proud that we're doing this. Madam Speaker, once again, time appears to be running out, and I just want to thank you for this opportunity and look forward to the questions.
Questions and comments?